Okay, the time is 4 o'clock. I will call to order the City of Fort Atkinson Plan Commission meeting in person and via Zoom. Tuesday, April 25th, 4 p.m. City Hall and via Zoom. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Highfield,
Present.
Commissioner Lesko
Here.
Commissioner Kesnick.
Here.
Thank you. Commissioner Gray,
Here.
Manager Houseman,
Here.
Engineer Selly,
Here.
and Council Representative Schultz.
Here.
Next item is a review and possible action relating to the minutes of the April 11th, 2023 regular Plan Commission meeting.
I move to approve the minutes from the April 11th, 2023 Planning Commission meeting as submitted.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any questions or comments from the Plan Commission? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next item on the agenda is a public hearing. This is a proposed zoning map amendment to change the zoning of a portion of the city-owned land along Banker Road from single-family residential SR2 to multifamily residential MRH 30 to accommodate a multifamily residential development. This is ZMA 2023-01. Engineer Selly.
Yeah, thank you. So the area that we're talking about is listed on the agenda later on this evening. In a detailed explanation of that will come forward at that time. But the public hearing is a requirement of state statutes for any zoning map changes that may be entertained. The area that we're talking about, let me pull up a quick overlay of it here. Can't see that.
Oops.
There we go. Well, for some reason this isn't working. Bear with me just a second. Let me try to just pull this mouse thing out and connect it.
You're not screen sharing, just so you know. So, okay.
I'll turn it back to screen share.
Okay.
The clicker doesn't seem to work. Touchpad on that laptop or something needs to be adjusted.
Somehow when I go to that link, I'm getting the last planning commission meeting stuff.
Yeah, I don't, for some reason, the document is.
I'm getting the April 11th information. And when I had it at home, I was getting current information. Like that's in the email.
Okay.
Try to go directly to the website. I can't navigate with my mouse. There's no response.
Okay, well, we don't need to, I mean,
Yeah, well, I should, maybe we can ask if there's anybody here for the public hearing.
yeah, okay, so we're gonna move forward with the public hearing for this zoning map amendment. As indicated, changing a portion of the city, changing the zoning of a portion of the city-owned land along Banker Road from single-family residential to multifamily to accommodate a multifamily residential development. This is zoning map amendment 2023-01. As engineer Selly indicated, this is later on the agenda for possible recommendation to the city council. But at this point, we will open the public hearing to see if there are any comments from the public. So first call for any members from the public wishing to speak on this zoning map amendment. Second call for anybody wishing to speak in the public hearing for the zoning map amendment. Third and final call for the public hearing. Seeing none, I will close the public hearing and we will move on to item number 5. Review and possible recommendation to the city council relating to a certified survey map for a portion of the city-owned property located along Banker Road.
All right, well, we might be able to see here. Let me screen share this again. Okay, can you confirm that you guys can see the screen share on the?
Can see it.
Okay.
Yes.
I think the gremlins might be gone. We'll see here. So this certified survey map is within the area of the 75 acres that the city owns. You'll recall we approved a neighborhood plan for this area. It's roughly a polygon that kind of follows my cursor here. This is the first development parcel that we're moving forward with. Planning Commission and City Council did see some kind of early previews of this potential development. This is a 3 building development, approximately 141 units in this area. So as we move forward with kind of formalizing the development, the first step of this will be to delineate the parcel, which currently doesn't exist. And that parcel is listed here. It's about a little over 8 acres. Overlaying on our original neighborhood plan, it's in this area here. So obviously some adjustments have occurred to the stormwater and things like that in that area. The CSM itself is obviously in keeping with our planning. This is the part of the Northwest Quadrant planning area that we have in the comprehensive plan, and the more detailed planning that the commission has obviously seen with the Banker Road neighborhood plan that we have approved. The CSM meets all the requirements. City staff reviewed it. I'm trying to pull up a quick copy of it. Here we go. It does include the lot, which is about, as I said, a little over 8 acres. And we have a new road, an 80-foot right of way to the north, which is labeled Trillium Drive. That will be a new road. There will also be an area reserved for the realignment, as in keeping with the plan for Banker Road. So this portion of Banker Road follows the same footprint, and then we deviate from that into this area. If you'll recall, the long-term plan is to relocate Banker Road just a bit west of its current location. So as I said, this has been reviewed by staff. It is our application, the city of Fort Atkinson's, because we are the owners of the land, and this is in support of that long-term development. I'd be happy to answer any questions that the commission might have related to this request.
So those 3 apartment buildings will occupy lot 1.
Correct. Yep. I had a question about the name of the drive, Trillium Drive. Is that from the developer? Is that a name we came up with, or?
Yeah, the development itself is going to be called the Trillium or Trillium. The Trillium, I think it could be Trillium Development, some variation of Trillium. I'm not exactly sure, but we did talk about it internally, and Trillium Drive seemed to be an appropriate name for that.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Any other questions or comments from the Plan Commission?
If not, I'll move to recommend to the city council approval of a certified survey map for a portion of the city-owned property located along Banker Road.
Second,
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any final questions or comments from the Plan Commission? Okay, hearing none. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, that motion carries. Next on the agenda is review and possible recommendation to the city council relating to a zoning map amendment to change the zoning from single family residential SR2 to multifamily residential RH 30 for a portion of the city owned property located along Banker Road.
Yeah, thank you. So this is again, the parcel that we have just defined within the CSM. The zoning of that parcel currently is SR2. That is a relic from when we annexed the 75 acres into the city. SR2 at the time fit the few houses that were out there, so it was in keeping with that. Obviously, with the development that we've just spoken of, the three buildings and 140 plus units, the zoning that would fit that best is the MRH 30 designation. Planning Commission will recall, we also designated that zoning for the property just to the south of that that we had seen earlier at the corner of Campus Drive and the High School Road. So that there is some continuity there between those parcels. That is this request to rezone is the reason for the public hearing that we held just a moment ago in the meeting. I would be happy to answer any questions that the commission may have related to this. There's a very detailed criteria that are included in the zoning code that were noted in your packet of information. Obviously, all of the criteria are met for this, and I won't go into those in detail, but there is a fairly determinate path for approvals of these types of requests.
So I'll note that the comp plan indicates this area is appropriate for planned neighborhood, which includes the mix of single family, two family, multifamily. And Engineer Sally, can you tell us a little bit more about process for this? Is this the three buildings on one parcel? Is that permitted under regular zoning, or will there be additional processes in the future?
Yeah, so the three buildings on one parcel are not permitted under our, well, I guess what we would call regular zoning. We do have a provision in the zoning code under the group development procedure. That is a conditional use that allows these three buildings to occupy a single parcel. That will come before Planning Commission under a site plan review. So instead of the name site plan review, it'll come forward as a group development conditional use review. And that's where we'll look at all the details of landscaping, layout, stormwater, erosion control, building appearances and things of that nature that would meet our zoning code standards. Our best guess at when that will come forward is probably a few months, might be mid-summer to late summer at this point. And that is depending upon the negotiation of a development agreement and the identification of financing for the project that we have in place right now. And I should note there is public notice obviously required for this. It is a class 2 notice, and both of those insertions in the newspaper were met according to state statute.
I think that's a good one to pull up there. Any questions or comments from the Plan Commission on this matter?
I know there was a traffic study either in process or completed. Did we get any feedback from that yet, or?
We received preliminary feedback. So they collected the data, I think in early April, late March, if I'm not mistaken. We are very close. I can't remember the date, but we have a date sometime, I think in the first week of May, perhaps, to get an actual draft of that results. I did check in with the consultant doing the study and just simply asked the question after they collected the data, was there anything here that they felt was extraordinary? Meaning are we lacking infrastructure to accommodate this traffic? Do we have any major issues that we need to be aware of? And their answer was no. So that I took that as a good sign. So they'll provide us some feedback on some what I would expect to be fairly minor traffic control issues. And if you'll recall, our traffic control in this area increases with various levels of development out here. So we have this development, we have another to the south, the potential for a new middle school in the area long-term, obviously. So all of these things are being taken into account in that traffic study.
Okay, thank you.
Any questions? Any other questions or comments from the Plan Commission?
I just have a question about, I don't know, process is the right word, but it would be helpful. I was just wondering if the city would be doing any sort of like progress site plans of this development as as the developers' plans are approved. To me, it would just be helpful to see, rather than seeing, individual certified site maps from individual developers, it would be helpful to see an overall plan of the acreage, and then what sections have been approved for development, and just something that indicates the footprint of the building and the number of units in the building and maybe the name of that developer. I don't know if that's something that can be done or that you've done before. It's just, to me, toggling back and forth between the concept and then individual certified site maps. It's hard for me to kind of get a sense for how the master plan is developing as we're making these changes to the zoning.
So this is the first development of the city's 75 acres. So there are no plans or other land divisions aside from this overall neighborhood plan that was approved in concept by the Plan Commission and the City Council. This is the first project. I understand that there is another project. The tip of the spear development is south of here. That's on privately owned land. There was a certified survey map approved for that project,
Right.
as well as a planned unit development for that project, which did show the footprint of the building and the number of units and all of that. And we will get to that point with this development as site plans the Plan Commission and the City Council have seen a concept plan for this development, but this is the next phase. So we create the lot, we're rezoning the lot in anticipation of that, and then the next phase would be this conditional use permit that for group development, which Engineer Selly mentioned. That will outline exactly, those will be very specific site plans where the buildings will go, how many units, what they will look like, the exterior materials, as well as landscaping, parking, all of those things that the Plan Commission will review. So those plans are not ready yet. The developer hasn't invested in all of those because they want to make sure that they can get the zoning change prior to investing in a lot of additional site work.
Mm-hmm. Can you remind me the name of the developer that we're looking at right now?
Sure. The city is working, has a master development agreement with HDG, which is Hoffman Development Group, and Cedar Prize, which is an arm of Cedar Corporation.
Okay.
So there's which is which. So Cedar Corp does the engineering and
Yeah, I think they're a bit one and the same entity, but they have different folks that specialize in different things.
Okay.
So they have a partnership, and the city has that master development agreement with that group for the development of this 75 acres. What exactly each section of that will look like, we don't know yet. I mean, a lot of that will be market driven, but they have the expectation, which is this neighborhood concept plan.
Mm-hmm. Okay, but as far as the city is concerned, or the plan commission and the city council, we wouldn't be able to see, for instance, something that would show, where the footprint of the tip of the spear buildings, the number of units in that, and then the footprint of the Hoffman development, number of units in that as things are going along.
Yeah, we certainly can provide that. I see what you're saying, sort of a map of everything all at once. We do have the capability to provide that, Commissioner Kesnick, and I think that might be a good way to keep tabs through time as we see more development out here.
Okay, thank you.
Any final questions or comments from the Plan Commission on the zoning map amendment?
I move to recommend the city council approval of a zoning map amendment to change the zoning from single-family residential SR2 to multifamily residential MRH 30 for a portion of the city-owned property located along Banker Road.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any final questions?
Did I read the right item for this item?
Yes. Okay, all those in
I think
favor,
so.
please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, that motion carries.
And I should note the zoning map amendment will then go to city council for its 3 readings as an ordinance change as well.
Next on the agenda for information only is a presentation relating to the proposed amendments to the City of Fort Atkinson Comprehensive Plan, the future land use map.
Yeah, thank you. So this is an area. There we go. This is an information only notice here. So the reason for that is we have a number of different meetings coming up where this will appear. And I was wanting to make sure that the Planning Commission had an opportunity to view this before it acted in an official capacity. Our next meeting on May the 9th will be a joint meeting between the Planning Commission and the City Council, where this item will come up then for formal action. So there's no need to make any approvals or denials. Certainly ask questions as they may come up. But I wanted to make sure that that these 2 items listed as information only are in fact brought before Planning Commission, kind of out ahead of the meeting on the 9th. We do have Alona Bartnick on the line from Vanderwall and Associates. If you recall, Vanderwall Associates has been a planner for the city. They've been instrumental in developing our zoning codes, as well as helping us with our comprehensive plan, and they've maintained that capacity. Alona has been very instrumental in helping Fort Healthcare along their pathway to kind of redefining this area in concert with the comprehensive plan, and then identifying areas where we need to potentially amend the comprehensive plan. Alona, I think you're on the line. We didn't talk about whether you had a presentation or just simply wanted to provide a little bit of background, and I can show a few slides as needed. What would be your preference there?
Yeah, I don't have any formal presentation. I'm just kind of here to help fill in any gaps, or if you guys have any specific questions. I think the majority of the discussion will probably happen in 2 weeks when any kind of action is taken, but I'm happy to fill in anything that's helpful at this point in time.
So the overview, I guess, of the request, let me zoom in a little bit here. Yeah, hopefully. I'll try to make that a little bit bigger. The overview of the request. So the comprehensive plan indicates the majority of this area to be hospital facilities. It might be termed institutional development or something along those lines, but the long-term plan for this, as Fort Healthcare continues to consolidate down in this area, they're realizing that the areas to the north are not areas that in fact they plan to develop additional hospital facilities. So the intent is to change the comprehensive plan away from the hospital facilities development and move towards a neighborhood type development that's more residential within that area. Oh, thank you. Let me pull that up. Here we go. And that will be kind of in keeping with the existing neighborhood that we have within that area, and drawing a bit of a boundary between the hospital expansion and the neighborhood itself. Specific elements of that include in the near term, we'll see the 4 houses that were located along, let me get it up here. Oops. The 4 houses that were located along 4th Street. I think I can, there we go. Down here at the very bottom of the figure, those are going to be moved. And we're looking at the potential for developing a new road within this area outlined in amber, I guess here. Those houses would be moved so that they would be backing up to existing residents along Florence Street and placed in this area. So we would be continuing residential developments within this area here. There is also a plan in place for the future to develop this green space kind of up in the northern portion of the area. We're looking at some floodplain issues there and some re-investigation of the floodplain boundaries in that area that may allow that development to move forward. So changing that to a more residential nature is also being requested. And then I think over the long term, the areas outlined in purple that are shown here are also indicated as medical facilities in the current comprehensive plan, and will in fact, medical facilities are indicated in blue here, I think, and will in fact then be changed within the comprehensive plan to the planned neighborhood development. So again, switching this over from the medical to the neighborhood.
I think the items outlined in orange we're looking at the planned neighborhood designation, and the items outlined in purple would be the planned mixed use.
Oh, okay.
Correct. Yes, the planned mixed use allows for flexibility to either maintain the clinic uses that are there or to allow for residential development to happen in the future if that works with the market moving forward, to give us a little bit more flexibility and aligns with the existing uses, but also opportunity for residential infill in the future.
So the process for amending the comprehensive plan is significant because obviously the comprehensive plan is a very important part of what we do here as a city. There'll be this will appear at a joint meeting on May the 9th between the Planning Commission and the City Council, where they will consider that there is a public notice that has gone out associated with this request. And as I said, there's a more formal action that will take place here in the future. But I think it's important to get this out publicly now so that not only the citizens can kind of absorb some of this stuff, but Planning Commission can think about it as well and ask questions as needed.
I'll pull up this map too.
For those areas that are outlined in purple, would those, would the intention be to repurpose any structures that are on those right now to the extent you can, or would anything, I mean, could it also involve knocking down those buildings and completely redoing those properties?
The way that the comprehensive plan works is it would allow that both of those options to occur, right? So I think Ford Healthcare in the facilities that they own has the option to either maintain or knock those down and redevelop. In fact, we've seen removal of some of the facilities where we'll see a map here in just a minute with a preliminary plat where those 4 houses are going to go. So there's been some demolition, and I think there's been some discussion about some of the other facilities to the north. I think there's a child care facility up there that is in very good shape, and one that a building that might be considered to stay, for the long term.
Can I ask which facilities in this map are presently, or which lots are presently owned by Ford Healthcare?
Let me get back to the map here.
Of the things that are shaded in blue, I guess, in this map?
Yeah, so
Purple.
this is a better map here. So I think everything shaded on this side of the road, if I'm not mistaken, Jim, is Ford Healthcare. Certainly the parking lot. And that is that Ford Healthcare? Okay. Women's Health Building.
The old UW clinic, was that owned by the hospital now?
Yeah, let me repeat some of these things for the folks on the Zoom to be able to hear. So this area, this parcel is owned by Fort Healthcare. This parcel in this area is owned by a subsidiary or some entity associated with Fort Healthcare, but not Fort Healthcare wholly. This is a partnership of folks that are associated in the medical field, but not with Fort Healthcare. So Fort Healthcare does not own this. And Fort Healthcare does own these two parcels here at the bottom. These parcels, this parcel in particular is owned by Mike Forrester, who's in attendance at the meeting today. I believe this parcel and this parcel are both owned by Mike, or at least the option to purchase is in place for those by Mike Forrester. These are not owned by Fort Healthcare. And then, of course, we have a smattering of homes down in this area. I won't try to figure those out, but we've seen those in the past where Fort Healthcare is in ownership of the houses that are going to be removed along 4th Street, and then a few other houses within that area as well.
One just kind of
Go
piece
ahead,
of the
Laura.
story that might be a little bit helpful is that given the plans for the new parking lot that you guys have been seeing just north of the hospital and the vacation of 4th Street, with that parking location there, this large existing remote parking lot will now no longer need to be utilized and is currently underutilized. So that was kind of one of the big key pieces, is seeing what higher and better use could be used with that parcel if Fort Healthcare employees and visitors no longer need to park there. So that was kind of the big piece that kind of started moving all of this forward. The opportunity for maybe potentially some future housing or senior housing or things like that.
Any questions from the Plan Commission about this?
Not yet. I'll have one once we get into the plat map.
Okay, and as Engineer Sally indicated, this will be, I believe there will be a public hearing at the joint Plan Commission City Council meeting on May 9th. And then, so moving on to number 8, presentation relating to a request for a zoning map amendment to change the zoning for the property formerly addressed for 26 McMillan Street from institutional to single family residential and duplex residential and request for a preliminary plat review.
Yeah, so again, this is information only. I'm going to try to draw some relationships between the map we just saw and what I'm showing you here. This remote parking area that was outlined previously in purple, that's this that we're looking here on the aerial photo, if that makes sense.
Yes.
The lots that we're looking at, there are 5 lots that are along this south side of the road. I can actually blow that up a little bit better even. Florence Street is down here, existing homes along Florence Street. And then these are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lots that are proposed to be platted with the proposed plat. And then each of those lots will need a zoning designation for those lots, very similar to what we just approved out on Banker Road. To get to these lots, we will need a new street. This street is yet to be named, Street A, and that is shown being platted here. So the plan with this is that the street would be developed by Fort Healthcare. The 4 homes would be moved to this area and developed as residential homes. There is a 5th lot that will receive a duplex zoning to allow obviously a duplex residential home to be built there. And this will come before the Planning Commission at that May 9th meeting as well. And as we've seen with the zoning map amendments, they do require a public hearing that will be held at that meeting. And then they will go through the 3 readings by the City Council as well. So this will be a change, a physical change within the neighborhood. with the addition of this new road here and the addition of those lots in this area. Now, there is an overall plan for this, so this road is not sort of being thrown in there within a vacuum. There is a requirement within our zoning code to plan neighborhoods, not just simply a single street. And we do have discussions and exhibits for where additional roads may be located within this larger area. But obviously that is dependent upon changes within the comprehensive plan to allow larger projects to move forward as well.
Engineer Sally, can you tell us which lot is slated or at the request for the duplex zoning? I think it's lot 1 on the left.
I thought it was on the corner lot, but it is, okay. Yeah.
That's what I read. And that's what my question is actually related to. I was curious why that lot was selected to be the duplex lot. It would seem to me if it's a side-by-side duplex, it's going to have a bigger footprint. And since it's going to be built from scratch, it seems like the larger lot of the 5, the lot 4 would maybe be a better location for the duplex. Just,
yeah, I would, they exist in both forms within the city, Commissioner Kesnick. I would venture the guess is that the access from 2 different streets provides an advantage for that to be a duplex. So you have 2 separate driveways and the configuration of the home can be a bit different.
mhm.
I'm sorry.
I can just chime in a little bit. Some of the rationale too was that the other 4 lots will be relocated homes. And so that the one on McMillan with kind of the most presence could be a new construction, kind of a little brighter, shinier new piece to a potentially bigger project with have a little more tax space out in that more kind of prime visible site.
Okay. Thank you.
And some of the lot sizing of the other parcels is based on the expectation of relocating existing structures onto those lots. So that it was kind of some of the determinant on the sizes of lots 4 and 5 being looking a little bit bigger.
Does the proposed street, does that have a connection on each end or is it a sort of a cul-de-sac?
It is a dead end currently. That is something that we're working through on the staff side of things as well. As long as there's a plan in place to develop additional roadways, I'm okay with a dead end for a determined period of time. We saw this a little bit with Doris Drive that we looked at the last planning commission meeting where it sort of ended there near the Goodwill. We've taken a bit of time to figure out how that was going to end. And I think with this particular situation, we'll have a development agreement in place with Fort Healthcare that would stipulate some action there. So if in so many years we don't see the addition of a connecting road at the end of that, then we may end up with a cul-de-sac or some sort of better termination of that road besides just simply a dead end. But it seems that there's a fair bit of momentum in place and land ownership to do some larger projects here in some additional phases. So.
Would one of the goals be to extend Handyside Lane across McMillan and through that area?
I think that area, there is an exhibit about that and I don't think.
I saw that somewhere in here.
Okay, if it's in the packet, then yes, that has been, it's kind of up here a little bit, but yeah, there is a discussion about trying to bring something down through here to take advantage of this parking lot. That parking lot is a bit odd shaped, but there seems to be some advantages in the preliminary layouts for access to it. So there's also some infrastructure buried through there as well that kind of determines where you can and cannot put houses and things like that too. So, but the short answer is yes.
Any other questions or comments from the Plan Commission?
I would note for those in the audience, this is all available on the city's website. So everything that we're looking at is within the Planning Commission packet that is on on the city's website under the Planning Commission tab. It's a PDF, so you can take a closer look at some of these. I would encourage commission members to follow up with any questions they may have via our phone with us here at the city, and then we'll see this in more formal action at the May 9th joint meeting between the Planning Commission and the City Council. And that's where we'll have the comprehensive plan amendment, we'll have the preliminary plat approval, and we'll have the rezoning approval as well. Those 3 items on the May 9th meeting.
Yeah, one last question I have. Of these 5 lots, what, if I recall correctly, I think some of the houses that are moving are maybe changing ownership to like the Homeless Coalition of Fort Atkinson. Would any of these other lots be, or maybe it might remain in the ownership of the hospital? But would any, like even lot number 1, would that be like open market housing that, or would that still be owned by some other entity to be leased?
Jim, would you care to come up and answer in the microphone so those on the Zoom could hear you? Make sure that green light is on. I think if it's red, just hit the large button there.
So lots of 4 and 5 will be, actually the way the houses are lined up on 4th Street is a way that they're designed to get moved into that location as well. So lots 4 and 5 are the 2 houses on the far east side of 4th Street, and they'll go kind of in order there. Those 2 homes, the intent is that they'll become the Homeless Coalition. So the Homeless Coalition has been using those homes for the last 1.5 years or so already. And so we get them over there, then we'll work with them to retitle the homes to them. They're raising funds to help with some of the cost of the relocation and prepping them, get them there. And lots 2 and 3 will be the next 2 homes in succession. And our intent is that once we get them relocated over there, we'll sell them. They'll become back onto the marketplace. And then lot 1, we won't develop lot 1, but we'll make it available to the public for somebody else to develop it.
All right, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, any other questions or comments? Final questions from the Plan Commission? Okay, on to item number 9, adjournment.
Move to adjourn.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And any opposed? We are adjourned at 4:43 PM. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.